Hello and welcome. Today we are going to go ahead and take a look at the Artemis. So the Artemis is the next in my Battlecruiser series of ships, and that basically just means that this is a Class C combat-focused ship that has a large crew capacity, has an armory and an infirmary, and can go ahead and go toe-to-toe with anything that you happen to run across. Now, this particular vessel was originally built by me when I was trying to just put something together that I liked the look of. However, after I came back to it, I realized that it also happens to be built almost entirely of Nova Galactic and Deimos parts. The one exception is the weapon systems, which, interestingly enough, you can normally only get in Freestar space. But otherwise, all the structural, HABs, etc., is from Nova Galactic or Deimos. Additionally, this ship is 130 parts. This means that it is at the parts cap. So if you want to do any of the flip glitching or the duplication glitching to go ahead and bring pieces together, you will need to do that before you put on, say, the windows or some of the spare spines or, your weapons or something like that. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead, take a tour, and then I'll show you how it's built and how it performs in combat. So you can see we are entering in through our Deimos landing bay. And as is my usual preference, we enter into the armory. This particular one is going to be the Deimos Armory. Interesting. Forward of this, we do have the infirmary. There is a window on the bottom of this infirmary that is looking down, and basically directly below us is going to be the entrance to the ship. So you can use this to kind of keep an eye on anybody who's coming up to you. Over here, you can see we've got a hallway that goes down on either side, a door back here, and then a ladder that goes up and down. So let's go ahead and take a look through this door first. All right. So you can see I chose the Nova Galactic 3x2 mess hall. Got some windows back here. And then here's our kitchen, refrigerators, etc. There are no other ways in and out of this particular hold. Everything comes through here. Next, if we wander on down this way, see we get into a companionway with a ladder and paired doors. Coming through this door, we find ourselves in the Nova Galactic 2x2 living quarters hab. Now this one here, normally there would be a bed located right there, but because the door is coming through there, that means that the bed was removed. We have a nice large entertainment area. We also have a pool table over here, bathroom, and then a small galley. And you can see plenty of windows on this ship, which is part of the reasons why I hit the parts cap. Moving forward, we have a 3x1 all-in-one. So this is going to be the Deimos one. And we've got 4 beds and a bathroom here. Hopping up here, we find ourselves in another Deimos 3x1 all-in-one. So on this side of the ship, we have 9 beds so far. Coming on over to this side, we find ourselves very much mirrored. Over here, this time we are instead having the Deimos 2x2 And this is going to be the living quarters. We have another Deimos all-in-one. And another Deimos all-in-one. So far, 17 beds on this ship. Now, let's go down the ladder first. We can see at the bottom of this is where our docking bay axis is. And this here is going to be the Nova Galactic 2x3 cargo hold. And we have another pair of 2x1 habs sticking off of this. You can see over here we have the science lab, I should say. Amusingly enough, there's actually a galley in here, which, by the way, means that if you have the Nova Galactic Science Hab and then any armory, you have every single lab or workstation that you could possibly need. Over on this side, I chose the Deimos Armory. And we've got our three workbenches and then the research lab. All right, coming back through here. Now we're going to go all the way up. And we've got a door here and a door here. Back here, I chose to put the Nova Galactic Captain's Quarters in. And over here, I chose to go ahead and put the, what's called Nova Galactic Control Station. And then through this door, we have the Ares Bridge. Now, one of the things that I just noticed after looking through all of this is that I do not have an infirmary. I'm pretty sure that the science hab was supposed to be my infirmary, but mistakes were made. But that is the full tour of the ship. When I do the rebuild, I will go ahead and swap that science hab out for the infirmary. Oh no, here's my infirmary. Ugh. Wow, I am really talented at remembering things. Cool. Anyways, pretend that I said nothing. Let's go see how the ship is built. Okay. So, I did mention that I am using a mod that unlocks all of these pieces at my outpost landing pad. I'm also using another mod that goes ahead and allows me to have more ships in my fleet, which was the primary reason why I got that mod. But one of the other, I guess, side benefits of it is it does increase the parts cap for my ships. As I said, this one is only 130 parts, but because of how complex this is, instead of deleting everything and rebuilding it and then hoping I got it right again, I'm going to go ahead and build this ship for us right over here. So, let's get started. Now, as I said, we are going to start with that Deimos landing bay. And let's go ahead and there. All right. So now that we have our landing bay, you can see that directly behind it, I'm going to go ahead and grab the cargo hull. And this one, I chose the Nova Galactic, though you could use any cargo hull that you would like. Here we are. All right. And then I want to move you over this way. One of the things that you may discover as you kind of fiddle with things is that the shipbuilder kind of has a spotlight that comes down, but if you go ahead and you pull things way off to the side, you get fun stuff like now it's shadowed. So, trying to keep things more well lit. Anyways, so as mentioned, I have the workshop and then the science lab. The science lab could be literally any 2x1 hab that you wanted, but, excuse me, as I said, I just wanted to grab something random. Alright, there we go. And then I'm going to pop on up here to the Dymos and grab the workshop. Alright, then right here I'm going to go ahead and grab that Dymos armory. And you can see I had the Nova Galactic Infirmary in front of it. Then, off the back of this armory, I have the Nova Galactic. Just start with the cargo hall and then swap that over to the mess hall. And then, you may remember, I had a pair of Nova Cross passages. And then right here, I have my Dymos Companionway. And then here I have my Dymos Companionway. And then here I have my Dymos Companionway. Lots of companioning going on. And the big thing that I'm doing here is I'm just trying to guarantee that there's only the single connection point available. So I go ahead and put on my Dymos 3x1 all-in-ones. Now, one of the things that I could do here is I could remove this companionway, and in exchange go ahead and pull this back one. Or if I want to keep the distance the same, I could use, say, a pair of 2x1s. However, and if I do that, it's not going to increase the number of parts that are being used. However, it means that I am now connecting in quite a few ways through this one section here. Which, if I'm using, say, the all-in-ones, that means that I'm going through and kind of blocking the bathrooms. Now, over on this side, I'm going to go ahead and grab that living quarters. And now you can see how that is all arranged. So the companionway is the only thing that connects to these three spots, and that's how I'm able to get it to, behave itself. Now, when I'm coming in here, it is possible that it will go ahead and decide to stick the ladder going down in the mess hall somewhere. It's also possible that I'll put the ladder down from the armory into the cargo hold and then back up into the mess hall. But that is a risk that I am willing to take. Additionally, right back here, I do have that captain's quarters. And again, there's some risk that it will do some sort of ladder shenanigans. However, putting the companionway here means that it very much wants to put a ladder from here to here. And it's just whether or not it decides to screw up the rest of this. Now, I do not have the Play Stores Yourself mod built for this ship. So what you saw in the tour is what I actually ended up getting. But your mileage may vary without that mod. Alright. Enough talking about that. Let's just go ahead and copy these on over. And then I'm going to grab that 2x2 living quarters. And then right up here, I want to go ahead and grab that Nova Galactic control station. And then I'm going to come on over here and choose my cockpit. And then down here is my docker. Alright, so that is all of the habs for this ship. So, what's next? Well, let's go ahead and add my landing gear. So looking over here, you can see that I have 4 of the NG20 wides, and then 2 of the 320 CBs. Now, the NG20 wides, it's going to give me a total of 16 landing thrust between the 4 of them, which would be up to 3,200 mass. And that is going to be just slightly short of what I need for this ship. So I needed something else, and that's why these 320 CBs came in. So let's go ahead and grab those. All right, got that. And then this is located directly underneath the companionway. And then back here, you can see on each back section of the cargo hull, I'm putting 2 more of these. All right. Next, looking over here, you can see that I have my grav drive is the RD3000 Beta, and that is located right here behind the cargo hull, underneath the mess hall in this little gap. Let's go ahead and put that on as soon as I can find it. There we go. All right. So the next thing that you will note here is that I do have basically this too high section here. On one side, I have the SF40 shear flow, and on the other side, I have my fuel tank. So basically, on this side, just pick whichever side that you prefer. You can go ahead and stick whatever Class C reactor you want in. You may need to go ahead and place it outside and then pull it up into position. And then we are going to come on over to the fuel tanks and we're going to grab that 900T. Then, directly behind that, I have a pair of Galleon S204 cargo holds. And I do actually need to put these on for these engines to connect to. So, let's go ahead and place them now. All right. Now, speaking of engines, you can see that I am using the Poseidon DT230s. And for this one here, I do need to go ahead and get some Nova cowlings in place. So let's go ahead and start there. And then we will go ahead and grab our engines. So you have the one there. There and there. So those 3 engines are all of the engines for this ship. So at this point, let's go ahead and just take a quick look. Yeah, all good. All right, so at this point, this is the ship. Everything else from here on out is basically adding structural greebling to go ahead and make it look cool. Now, one of the things that you may look at and go, huh, why'd you do that? Is I have these lines of the Deimos hull A's here, some more hull A's here, and you can see up I do have some more S204s down here. Let's just go ahead and grab those really quick. Alright, now with all these Deimos hulls and all that extra going on, I did do a good bit of experimenting to see if I could say, I don't know, get some more 2x1 or 3x1 or whatever Habs instead of needing these hulls. However, that screwed up all the interior pathing, so I gave up. That's basically the story of the ship. So that's why I do have all of these hulls here, instead of just making it, I don't know, what I could do like one, two by one all in ones, and then a 3 by 1 living quarters, for example. And that would be, a great way to do things. But to do that, you need the place to which yourself mod. So, rather than complain anymore, let's go ahead and start adding all that greebling. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab this Nova cowling, switch it to the front variation, and then I'm going to place a couple copies right here. And I'm going to, oh come on, duplicate it, flip it, place, and then flip it into position here. And then duplicate it down because for some reason it doesn't like me today. But that one went just fine. Next, continuing on with these Nova cowlings, I have some more located right here. There we go. All right. And now let's just come on over to the structural tab and start going wild. So I have some portholes, a porthole, and then here I have the Dymos braking engines. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. So the 3 braking engines located in these 3 spots. And then I'm just going to try and finish off the bottom bit here. So before I do that, I need to come on over here and grab a Dymos cowling. And then copy that on over to this side. And then I also need to grab the Dymos cowling, flip it, and put it on the back. And then I can go ahead and add in my skegs. So I want to go ahead and have the skeg A, a skeg B, and then a skeg A rear. Copy that on over to this side. And then you can see that right next to that, I had a skeg A and a skeg B. And these are just forward of these engines. Next, right over here, I have some Dymos bellies. And then, as you saw on the interior tour, I have the portholes on the back of the mess hall. And that is it for kind of the bottom side stuff. So now let's come down from the top. I'm going to work my way from this way to that side of the ship. So starting, I will grab some portholes. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a spine A, flipped. And then I want to come here and I'm going to grab Dymos bumpers. Have the front and the mid variation here. Coming on over to the next section, I want to grab a Dymos hull, and then a Dymos cowling, and then a Dymos spine A. Then I'm going to copy the bumper on up, and then I'm going to get the rear bumper, and I'm going to flip that into place over the engine here. Then, along this line, I'm going to go ahead and grab the spine A, and then 3 spine Bs, and then back here I'm going to grab a Deimos tail, and then on the underside of the tail I have a Skag A. Next, right along here, I'm going to go ahead and place some Deimos hulls. And then a Deimos cowling. And then I'm also going to grab another Deimos cowling, set it here, and then flip it into place over this Nova cowling. Alright, with all those things in place, let's go ahead and copy that on over to this side. Alrighty, so all that has been copied on over to the other side. So that's just going to go ahead and leave this line back here. Now, one of the things that you may have gone, but wait, where's your shield? Well, for this ship, I do actually have the SG-1800 shield generator located hidden under something back here because I have my Nova Cowlings. The front one is flipped into the Ares bridge. And then the shield is placed somewhere underneath these Nova Cowlings. Doesn't matter exactly where. And there you go. That is the ship now with all of the structural greebling going on. Now, if you want to use a different weapon setup than I did with the Exterminator 95s, Vaporizer 35s, and Obliterator 250s, and you don't have your parts cap expanded, you need to delete some of the fun little greebling, like for instance the portholes. That's probably where I'd start, just to get more weapon slots. As you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 portholes on this ship that are up for removal. You could also look at going ahead and, if you wanted to, rather than having these 2x2s out here, we could go ahead and pull this in and turn this into, say, a 2x1. Say, an all-in-one. And that would go ahead and allow you to, say, put the landing gear right here, and that just frees up all of this extra greebling going on over here. This is not to say that you have to do any of this. This is just to say these are things that you can do. Now you will notice that what I did here is I have the 2 weapon mounts on the bottom side of these Nova Cowlings. Then I have a weapon mount on the top of the Nova Cowling. I did have to remove this to go ahead and place the weapon there, and then flip this in to place over the weapon, and then place them on top. However, if there's one thing this ship is not lacking, it's places to slap weapons on. Because you can very easily, instead of placing them here, just place them up here, anywhere on this row, the backs of the tails, on this side. So, weapons, I'm going to go ahead and leave more or less up to you. So rather than going through and redoing my paint job though, I'm just going to delete that and then show you what I did here. So for this particular ship, I started with a blackish color, and then I went and did everything that I could reach on this mid layer into kind of a darker greeny tealy color, and then a lighter tealy color, and then kind of a bluish color for the top row. This was me just kind of experimenting with the idea of, having kind of like the fading layers on this ship. Is it important? Not really, but it was kind of fun. All right, enough of hearing me ramble. You can see the stats down here. And let's go ahead and take it out for a spin. Okay. Find Serpentis. And a Settler Pelican. Perfect. All right. So before I go ahead and dive in, this is also the ship with all of my skills. Notice with the payload skill maxed out, we have nearly 10,000 cargo, which is more than enough for extended party time. Um, yeah. And now, let's go find that hostile activity. How many asteroids I can destroy on my way hitting him. Alright. Boost in. There we go. I don't know. Do you think I had enough asteroids? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, no, I'm not going to bother trying to search for the wreck. Okay. don't know what's going on. Anyways. Yeah, that's too far away. More asteroids. Alright. I prophesize that I might hit you. Once again, looks like I hit plenty of asteroids in my quest. Ow. Can I find the other loot that I... Ah, here we go. The only part I care about. Alright. Come on over to Serpentis 3 and see if we can have another party. Oh, hey, look, more asteroids. Ooh, spacers. Wow. So, I'm going to get some distance. There we go. Oh, I guess they fixed their engines. And now they're gone. Alrighty. So if you watched all the way to the end, thank you very much. And I will see you in the next one.